What's happening? Today's topic, subject, intent, not content, is the Brittany Griner, but I like to talk about content and intent. Your content, your content has a con in it. So your content is something that is false. People like to use the word content this. Let's stop using content and start using intent. Intention. Something that is, you see, it has the word in it. So it comes from within, it's honesty. The content is withheld or within. A convict, I think we spoke about this already. There's a con in it. A convict, a con is somebody who is trying to play you or trying to take something away from you. So content is not a good thing. You're playing with the information. It's almost like romanticizing the information. The content is like a philosophy. Philosophy is something that you romanticize with. So my intent on the topic of the Brittany Griner being swapped, a lot of people are mad about the situation. They're saying, why would the United States swap a WNBA star who's also gay and she's also a woman that happens to be black, swap for a prisoner of war, according to some experts, FBI and all. He's one of the most dangerous men on earth. The person said he is the most dangerous man on earth. So they wanted to swap. They wanted a better swap for somebody like Paul and Brittany Griner for that kind of person. They was weighing his value because he was an evil man. They said, why would he swap an innocent civilian who was held against her own will? How can you place a value on an innocent civilian who's held against a captive? Don't we go to war for civilians themselves? I can understand where you guys are coming from. I seen on TikTok people, soldiers talking about, well, that put us in danger because he's training people, da-da-da. And I'm like, but his value, he took away his rights as a man, as a human being on earth. He violated other people's rights, according to the charges, of course. All conspiracy, we don't know whether it's true or not. He's being held on espionage by the United States. He was going to get out in 2029. It wasn't like he was in prison for life. He was going to get out in a few years, less than 10 years at that. So he was going to get out regardless. It wasn't like the United States was holding him captive and he was never going to get out. According to the crimes that he committed, most people, if they would have committed a crime on their land, would have been in prison for life. There's people with marijuana charges that's getting more years than him. But Brittany Griner, who was an innocent person, people saying that's not a great swap. On whose part? We agree on the same thing. It's not a great swap, but we don't agree on the conclusion of it. I believe that we should have. It wasn't enough for us to get Brittany Griner in exchange for one person. We should have. It's true. We should have got more. We should have got more. Not the way you think about it. I feel like her value weighs more than his value. If anybody won that swap, it would have been Russia, because Russia gave up something cheap for something that was worth more. She was worth way more as a upstanding citizen. You understand? Police officers, what do you call it? Firefighters, soldiers, all fight for civilians to have a better life. They keep things, it serves and protect. That's the whole purpose of a civilian. So we run into buildings. A firefighter will run into a building to save a civilian that's in there, risking his own life. So the soldier that's being held, the Marine, the veteran Marine that's being held in Russia, the one that the people wanted, is actually doing his job. He's the reason why Brittany Griner is out. You see, Jesus Christ was nailed on the cross, right? As he was nailed on the cross, they put 2 thieves on the side of him to demonize his value. They treated him like a criminal. And that's what Russia did. Russia wanted to justify what it did was right. So they decided to get the worst form of criminal to justify what they did. That's the reason why Brittany Griner was a greater value at hand. He was just something we could have gave him up with no swap. Honestly, the United States do that with people who cross the border all the time illegally. They give it back to the country. They don't keep them in the prison here, cell, and everything else. They send that nigga right off, and these people turn around and come back in again. The United States don't tell Mexico, well, since you got some Americans locked up in Mexico, I'm using Mexico because Mexico's right there, that's the border. They don't say, well, since you got one of these Mexicans, since we got one of your Mexicans, your citizens crossing over to our border illegally, we want to swap American prisoners that you have in the... No, they send them back freely. So the idea that Brittany Griner, a black woman like that, the backbone of the United States of America, all women in the United States are the backbone of the United States of America. Our DNA is our Constitution. That's the blueprint that we run on. Then comes the woman herself. Then comes the man that protects the woman, which is the soldiers himself that protects the woman. The woman is the house that holds the United States down. And then the men, then our kids, our future. So who better to go rescue? We could have given up the farm for her because she was an innocent woman that our institution is based on. You understand? So people are mad that, oh, we should have got more. I'm like, yeah, we should have got more for her because we gave her, because we basically didn't really, like, we got the best of the deal. We did. Israel. When you look at Israel, if one Jew get killed, they see one Jew as equivalent to 10 other people. That's how they see it. So if they got to give up 4 prisoners for one Jew, they would do that. And that's how we got to operate and think sometimes. We have to value our citizens. So no, we didn't lose on that swap or whatever they call it. We didn't lose on that. If anything, we took a hit by even giving up somebody for her because she was supposed to be free already. She was a free woman. She was just being held against her own captive over a vapor ride. Now, Paul, on the other hand, is a veteran. It's part of his job not to be locked up, but it's his job to go into dangerous places. If it means being held in prison, we will praise him when he comes out. Oh, shit is here. We will praise him when he comes out. He's the reason why Brittany Griner came out, because he did his job by running into a building when the building was burning just to save a civilian. You feel me? The backbone of this country. Anyway, I gotta go.